right. So, hello and welcome. I am Natalie. I am a hypnopsychotherapist and I'm passionate about helping people to understand their conscious and their unconscious mind. I'm helping people to be the best versions of themselves with my occupation. And today I am thrilled to be joined by Judith Collins, a world-renowned aura reader, an author, and gee, the list goes on and on and on. You are simply amazing. And this is one of many interviews that we've had together now.
Yep.
And so, if anybody would like to know how Judith became an aura reader, please go back into one of the earlier interviews, and that is all there. And so today, together, we're going to be exploring how the aura, how the ego shows up in the aura.
Mm.
And because you have the unique gift of being able to actually see and interpret the aura.
Yeah.
And so we're very interested in how the ego shows up, how it affects our well-being, and what we can do to bring ourselves back into balance.
Hmm.
And so my goal is to connect with you, Judith, today and your insights with the work that I do with the unconscious mind, so the audience can gain a deeper whole person understanding of transformation.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. That's good because I think I think people need to do it. They need to get an understanding, and the difference, I suppose, with me is that because I've been seeing and reading and learning to read and interpret and develop that reading since a very, very, very young child, 3 years old. To my earliest memories with my mother, going back to being 2 years old. Um, that's when she had these weird conversations with me, she said. But the difference is that I haven't, because it's been fascinating and because it's been a journey with me, and because I've worked with medics and I've worked with crime detectives and so on, um, it's caused me to study the aura. And as I've said before, I've taken groups of people of all ages looking to see what the colours are and how they develop and so on. So this subject is something that I've actually studied. I've actually taken, I've done from newborn babies right through to toddlers, through to young primary school children, to teenagers, to young adults, to elderly, and then I've also done it in collective groups, people living in apartments.
Hmm.
Yeah, so let's go to it.
Let's go into it. Yeah, because I draw on the Gestalt therapy approach a lot in the work that I do. And Gestalt is all about awareness. And so I find it really fascinating that the principles that I use in hypnopsychotherapy and what you do, being able to actually see the invisible for us, for us normal people that can't see an aura like you do.
Yeah.
It is absolutely a privilege to be speaking to you and very fascinating. So, okay, so my first question is, from your perspective, how does the ego show up in the aura? And are there particular colors, patterns, or distortions that you notice?
Mm. All right, let's take the ego right back to the beginning, and then all those questions can be answered. In the human aura, the ego is a wonderful thing, and the aura doesn't fully develop without it. And so to understand that, that caused me to investigate it, because why you hear that people about being egotistical, and having too many opinions about themselves and so on. Uh, so that caused me to have a good look at it. So the aura breaks it into a number of categories. The first one it does is the primal. That's the primal ego. And I should imagine that in therapy, some of that primal urge would come out with people who've got deep-seated issues, such as refugees escaping torture, women who have been raped, children who have been sexually or physically abused. So
Hmm.
deep-seated stuff. So I think it would come from the primal.
And the primal ego is all about survival.
Yes, and
The
the
fight
primal
or
ego,
flight.
the primal ego in the aura. So I'm going to be talking not in your terms of therapy, but
That's
in
fine.
my terms of how the aura shapes itself, right?
Perfect. Yes.
So now what we've got is we've got the primal ego, and that's in brand new babies, right up to being able to tie their words together. And the primal ego has a certain range of colors that the other levels of ego don't have. And they're all emotional and instinctive and behavioral and so on. So the young child, as we know, will cry and scream and kick and do all those kinds of things. And that's all the primal. But the next stage goes for a long time. It's the developing ego. And the developing ego starts when children begin to become exposed to other people in their lives, such as school teachers. They make new friends at school. They may be journeying on a bus, or they may be traveling on a train, all these experiences. And so they take on a specific group of colours that stay with us all the way up to our adult years. And they are apple green, which is a sense of being born into a new life, a new beginning. And then emerald green, which is very, very rich. It's more concentrated emerald green than apple green. And emerald green is all about coming to terms with issues. Say, for instance, being able to handle arguments, being able to handle insults. It works with all of those things. So as we develop, it gives us the response mechanism if it's healthy. If it's healthy, it gives us a response mechanism to all the issues that we'll have in life, such as maybe a car accident or losing our purse or not having something work out the way that you want it to work out. Maybe putting a cake in the oven for a birthday and find out that it sinks in the middle. There's all those little things that we have
Yeah.
to handle. But the
Yes.
other colour that's in there as well, which makes us highly sensitive, and for some of your clients, there would be more of that colour, and that's pale blue. Pale blue it can give us depression if it's mixed with the right colours, the associated colours. And apple green, trying to give us new life, means that you would meet someone, you would have somebody come into your clinic, and they would be trying or thinking that they're progressing, but not progressing. So when there's too much pale blue, people are taking 6 steps forward and 12 steps back. If there's too much pale blue. If there's a lot of apple green, then they're taking 3 steps forward and only 1 step back. Do you see the difference? Yes.
Yes.
Depends on the richness of those 3 colours. But those 3 colours stay with us most of our lives, you would have it in your aura. I would have it in my aura. I'm in my 70s. You're not, but we would still have it in our aura in pockets. Now, when ego is really, really healthy and balanced, right? Very healthy and balanced, it's represented by colours of self-worth, right? And so if I see a combination of dark brown and I see a combination of aqua, and then I look at those particular colours, and that they start to give the balance of the aura. So that's the people who go through life. They absolutely go through life. And whatever happens to them, it doesn't phase them greatly. It's like Paul and I went through, having the whole property destroyed by bushfire. Now, there were people in our local area who never rebuilt their house for 2 years because they were busy blaming everybody else for the fire, right? And there were other people locked into pockets of depression and they couldn't move forward.
Mm.
But we had done so much work on ourselves over the years that self-development work on ourselves, that when the fire happened, we just looked at it and said, well, nothing we can do about it. It's done. Now, what's the plan to move forward? And
Mm.
that's the difference. That's the difference. But
Yes,
when
it
people
can.
see, when they see this dark brown and they see this aqua color and they see it sitting in the aura, they always look at me and say, what's that? Oh my God, what is it? What is it? What is it?
Mm.
And I say, it's a healthy ego.
And whereabouts is the aura placed in the, sorry, the colors of ego placed in the aura? Because I know the feet is very important, but the head changes all the time,
Mm.
colors around there.
It's usually under the arm, somewhere
Okay.
here, there, because it locks in. All the colours under here have got with how you journey. So the colours, the balanced ego shows how you're going to handle anything tomorrow or the next day,
Mm.
or it shows that you're not going to handle anything tomorrow or the next day, depending
Mm.
what's in it. There are other colours that can come into it too. If we get pale, yellow in it, well, it creates creates a emotional issue. People hang on to it. They find that they can't let go of it. They can go to therapist after therapist after therapist, but they can't let go of it.
Mm.
There's ways that you can do that aurically. That's why I wanted to study it, because I feed this information back to doctors and back to therapists and the like, so that they get an understanding of what they're working with. Mm.
Right. So working with energy,
Yeah.
would you be able to give therapists tips and tricks on how they can help a client shift that?
Oh yes, yeah, that's what I do. There's no sense in
Mm.
knowing this information if you can't figure out how it's going to work.
Yes.
Get better. And
Yeah.
that's why I study the aura. See, you've got a lot of people out there that they might do a course in aura reading, but
Mm.
I've learnt this right from, day dot, and
That's
had
it.
to figure it into my life and help me understand, how is that person a friend and that person's not a friend, but I like that person, but they're not a friend. All these things, all the issues that you have to work out as a child, I had to do it all aurically, because I couldn't turn the aura off until I was 27 years old. And so I went through life seeing and reading all these things,
Mm.
which was quite different to a lot of other people. But getting from the primal and the development, there's another one that happens too. Another level of the ego. That's the collective ego, and the
Mm. I wanted to
collective.
ask about that. Yep.
What?
I did want to ask about the collective ego.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, the collective ego has different pockets of color in it, and those colors are jade green, and golden yellow, and they come in sort of tiny little sort of spots here and there, and that shows whether or not you get along with your neighbours in the street. That shows whether or not you get along with the people in your office. It also shows um, how patient you are waiting in a queue to get into a theatre or to buy something at the counter. That what colors are around that determine how you respond to life. You don't people who have other colors around jade green and yellow, they aren't responding to life, they're reacting to life.
Mm.
That they've got emotional colors attached to them. As a therapist, you would understand what I'm saying.
I
That
do. I
yes,
do. Yes.
yes, yes, yes,
And I'm so in awe of your ability. I wish that I could see their auras and just know, it probably would help with the hypnosis. I probably wouldn't have to do so much if I could just see it, and then I would know
yes.
exactly what they need. Wouldn't that be helpful?
Well, I mean, people can actually change these things with color and diet. I mean, diet's one thing, and color therapy could work.
Mm.
wearing colours surrounding. You'll find that if you go into their homes, they'll have black lounges,
Mm.
white walls. There'll be no colour vibration that's coming into their life at
Mm.
all.
I was
Um,
listening this morning to Edgar Casey.
yeah,
Well, not him, he's passed,
yes,
obviously,
yeah.
but he was talking about color and how
Mhm.
important it is to have different colors in the homes. And he said dark gray is the worst color to have.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh my God, because it's a victim. It's a
Mm.
victim. And it becomes trendy and you go, oh, victim, a victim. Yeah,
Mm.
yes.
And he said gold can bring financial wealth. It can bring, if you have something a little bit gold in a room, and you
Yes,
just
that's right. But it can also doesn't have to be gold as we know it. It can
yes,
also be golden yellow, because that's a very helpful color to have in your aura as well. But getting back to that jade green and the golden
yes,
yellow,
yeah,
um, that's the thing that allows us to live in a community.
mm,
It's a color that allows families to live together. That doesn't mean to say they don't have arguments, disagreements, that kind of thing.
mm,
But it means that they can bond, they can live together, they bond together. So
mm,
they might have a lot of emotional issues in the relationships, but the underlying bond is there in the jade and the golden yellow, and it's the thing that allows us to be able to make laws. So in society,
mm,
um, it's the thing that allows us to work with strangers. Say, for instance, there's an accident and the ambulances are slow to come, and then a couple of people get out of the car and they start talking. What have you got? What can you do? What can you do? And all of a sudden, people who don't know each other, because of that gold and yellow and that jade green sitting there, they can communicate, talk, support each other in a
mm.
crisis. Say, for instance, we look at the Lismore floods and how people who never knew each other started helping people, right? And this is what allows it. These are the two. This is why ego is such a healthy and nutritious energy for the human aura,
I
despite
love,
everybody. Well, when people are
yes,
developing spiritually,
hmm,
I become very alarmed when I hear people say, you've got to put your ego to the side and
mm.
develop your higher self. Well, you can't, because your ego gives you your self-esteem, your self-worth.
It's integrated in everything.
Everything we do, yes. And
Yeah.
there are the other level that we have, which most people aren't aware of. But in the outer layers of the aura, the fine outer layers of the aura that are no longer electromagnetic, the electromagnetic energy that moves and breathes and pulses and creates vibrations and patterns and so on. That's all our life force, everything we do in life, right? But
Mm,
then you've got an outer layer which is quite stagnant, if you look at it, but it's not stagnant. It's
mm.
still breathing, but it's working with other energy. It's working with the atmosphere, works with the air and the oxygen. It works in other atmospheres. It's universally connected. It
And this
can
is
be,
how we are all connected, Judith, you're
and
saying.
we're all connected. And I call it that it's an enlightened one, right? It's enlightened, but I call it the enlightened ego balance consciousness, because it's consciousness doesn't come about, universal consciousness doesn't come about unless we are balanced in our ego, and that means our mind, body and soul all together balanced,
All in alignment.
all in alignment. And those colors that are out there are tiny, tiny little particles like dust. And they're a mixture of silver, gold, and pearl. Yes. And
Okay.
of course, that's higher consciousness. that's for anybody who is a trance channel. Those colors sit there in the
Mm.
outer layer of the aura. For people who uh, absent healing, sending
Mm.
healing across the world, those colors come in as well, because they've got to link through those levels of colors. So that puts the perspective of the ego in the aura
All
and
right.
its value and its meaning. And the colors that I've talked about, such as the greens and the apple green, the emerald green, and the pale blue, they're going to follow us all the way through, because they're the things that allow us to start new things. They're the apple green allows us to move house. It allows us to buy a new car. Allows us to change our jobs. It allows us to bounce back from the loss of the death of a loved one. It allows us to emotionally get through a divorce.
Mm.
It does all those things. Emerald green balances all the emotional stresses and everything that goes with life. So
So,
and
yeah.
so pale blue there is the sensitivity. You as a therapist, the more pale blue people have got in their aura combined with those, the harder it is for them to live in the world in which we exist.
Mm. When I do the Gestalt energy block release, and I even do another technique called the psychosynthesis 4 questions.
Yeah.
I ask them 4 questions, and then it's a technique psychologists know about, psychotherapists, hypnotherapists, counselors, it's out there. But we ask the 4 questions, and with every question, they're in trance, to say hypnosis. They open their eyes, and then they will represent the answer to that question on a sheet of paper using a colored pencil and drawing a shape or the first image that pops into their mind. And so I'm presented with a lot of images that I would love the opportunity for an interpretation, if you don't mind, the color and the image. Would you be all right with that?
Yeah, yeah, fine,
All
fine.
right. So, now a shape that comes up a lot
Mhm.
is I've sort of scribbled them down on a bit of paper here. I'll just show you, but it's basically the crossroads. I don't know if everyone can see that one.
Oh, yes, yes,
The
yes,
crossroads.
yes.
Um, I'm just going to call it the crossroads. A lot of people, clients say that represents crossroads to me, but does it? If you saw that image, and if it was like the color pale blue, because
Ooh. Ooh.
yes, what would you think if it was pale blue and that came up?
Well, first of all, no one color. There, you can't read one color in the aura. It's the
Mm,
colors that are combined with it or intertwined with it that give you the language. Like I've said before,
yes.
colors are A, B, C, and D,
Mm,
or CAT, but the word is cat, and
mm.
all the colors make up the letters, and so it's the language. If
Great.
I was to come across that, and it was pale blue,
Mm,
there would have to be other colours. If people are talking about crossroads in their life,
mm,
um, and they feel as though they're stuck in that, right? Then the pale blue would be there. There's a possibility that sepia might be there as well. If they feel really bogged down, sepia is likely to be there as well,
mm.
and that means that their crossroads are they can't see their way forward. That's basically it.
Okay. But
Yeah.
if the crossroads and they chose the color green to
Uh-huh.
describe that, and I have
Whoa.
basic pencils, just a basic green, not all the shades of green like you were mentioning, the apple and the jade and the
Yeah.
emerald. So if they did that, it would give it a totally different meaning, wouldn't it?
Yes, yes, yes. I mean, for instance, if it was an apple green, like a Granny Smith apple, then it would show that they're seeking a new life. They want change, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why they're seeing you. They want change.
Mm.
So that's a good start, because the people with pale blue, um, they want someone to wave a magic wand. And
Yes.
yes, and they
Yeah.
don't want to do the work themselves. They
Yeah,
just want to be
exactly.
healed. Yes.
Yes, and
Um,
yes, and I understand that the field of hypnotherapy, that is because of societal conditioning and the TV, that's what it looks like on TV, that we're waving a magic wand and one
Yeah,
session and they're going to be different. But
that's
and
right.
so
Mm.
I understand that. And then what about this? This is a very different symbol. Now, this
Yep.
one was represented, it's a heart with a line
Yes.
through it, and it was all orange, drawn as orange lines, and the heart was orange. That one there was quite complicated, I thought. A
Well,
different one, I should
all
say.
right, all right, all right. Now, orange is a powerful color when it appears anywhere in the aura. Now, was it orange or was it a pale orangey color?
All right. So this was in the Gestalt therapy. I asked a question, and that was the answer. And there was only one orange. It was a very basic pencil
Very
kit.
basic pencil, all right. Because it changes completely different if it's apricot,
Uh-huh.
totally different, totally different.
Okay. Makes it
So,
tricky.
if it's orange, um, or maybe what you've got to do to get a real interpretation, you've got to get a set of about 70 odd pencils
The
so that people,
Derwents.
yeah, to do that, to
I
go and
will
do
do
that.
that.
Yeah,
That's the next
yeah,
thing now. Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
that's right. Because you see what colors they pick.
Yeah.
Now, orange is a color of communication and self-motivation. So if there's a line going through it, that means that they they want to do this, but something is stopping them. Yes.
Mm.
Mm.
And what does a circle mean?
Oh, what color?
Well, red comes up a lot and black
Oh,
comes up a
beautiful.
lot.
Black. Black.
Black.
Oh dear. Dear, dear, dear. Black's not really a bad color,
Okay.
apart from when it comes up in images, because it means that they can't see the light.
Mm.
That's all right. They can't see the light. That's all that means. Doesn't mean to say you're bogged down forever. You're never going
Mm.
to get out of a rut. Just means that you can't see the light.
Mm.
And that's happened to all of us. You know, we've planned to do something and it hasn't worked out, and we're waiting to see what next we've got to do, and it still doesn't come, and it still doesn't come, and it still doesn't come, and then
Mm.
it often comes when we least expect it. Yes.
Okay.
That's because when an opportunity comes, it has little flecks of magenta, which is the color of being in the right place at the right time for the right thing.
Mm.
But getting
Huh?
back to the um
The circle?
the circle,
And
well,
yeah.
the circle means that for people in therapy, it would represent going around and around and around and around and around, and nothing changes.
Mm. All
Yes.
right. What if they were presented with a triangle? Sometimes they are.
Um, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
triangles. Sometimes a triangle, all different colors, but there's not a lot of information that, helps me with the shapes. And I think that you're very helpful. So what do you think the triangle represents?
Triangles I've seen appear on a number of occasions, and usually at when it appears, people are feeling that they've taken this trip and there was a dead end. They've taken that one and it was a dead end, and then they took that one and it was a dead end. Yes, the circle is going around and around and around, and there's no hope, there's nothing I can do, da da da. But
Mm.
the triangle is, I've tried this and I've tried this and I've tried this and I've tried that. That's what
Mm.
that is. Yeah.
Okay. And some
Does
people,
that help you understand it?
yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
Mm.
always get the client to interpret it because we all know
Yeah.
that the client's interpretation is very important. But
Mm.
as just a bit of a guide for me too, to maybe ask the right questions
Yes, yes.
to prompt them to sort of, because they
Mm.
don't know. It's like I'm teaching them to speak a new language because we are now trusting shapes and symbols and colors. And when I ask them what does that mean to them, they a lot of the time go, I don't know.
Yeah, that's
Well,
right.
you do know because it's this language of your own personal,
Mm.
it's your own personal vocabulary um, from your subconscious mind. So it's only brought it to your conscious mind because it knows that you do know what that means.
Mm. Yeah,
It might take some thinking and some
yeah,
pondering
yeah,
and some
yeah.
calibration between sessions, but the answer I think will come. So a lot of times people see blobs and usually like they're brown or black blobs. So there's no form to the shape. What would that mean?
That would mean that um, life is unsorted, that it's chaotic, and they can't see the forest for the trees.
Hmm.
Mm.
Okay.
Does
And
that
what,
help you?
yes, it does.
Mhm.
And what would a square, does a square and a rectangle have different meanings?
Yes,
All
yes,
right.
yes,
Would you
yes,
be
yes.
able to explain that for
Yep,
us?
yep, 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 yep. Rectangles represent time zones. And so when people are talking about them emotionally, it can be the painful journey over time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Say, for instance, give an example, right? I was a premature baby, so there's one thing, right? And I was born deaf and I was born crippled. And it took them 4 years to straighten my legs. When I was 8 years old, the doctors took the bottoms of my feet off, and I never walked for 4 months.
Mm.
So that journey would show up as, see the line of
Mm.
one thing after another, year after year after year after year. So that's your rectangle, right?
Mm.
So that's somebody who has been through one thing after another,
Another.
right?
Right.
um I can give you an example of this because I've done the auras of a number of people who um, have been in that crisis. So, I'll give you an example.
Mm.
One woman who came to this country her and her husband were tortured, right? They came to this family, it came to this country, they settled down. They were practicing and learning English before they left their country.
Mm.
So when they came, they had a basic grasp of the language. Uh, they settled down. They had two children, one, two, second year.
Mm.
When they got to the third 3.5 years they'd been here, husband got a pain in his stomach. They found out that he had cancer throughout his entire body. He
Mm.
died 6 months later.
Mm.
She was here in this country with no family. Her children didn't own a house. They were renting. She hadn't worked. He worked, brought the money in. And it had been a long journey from being a child growing up in a war zone,
Mm.
being tortured as a young woman, escaping,
Mm.
meeting a husband,
Mm.
having children, coming to a strange country.
Mm.
And it's a long, long, long journey. Yeah.
Mm.
There's lots of people out there in the world that have long journeys. And most of the people who whinge and complain about life, they're the ones that are struggling in comfort.
Mm. Interesting. Interesting.
Because the ones that are going through the real struggles of life, that don't know where their food's coming from, that don't have a roof over their head, that have nobody that cares about them, anywhere to be found. Your family, all her family was dead. Every one
Yeah.
of them was dead. She had no one.
Mm.
Yeah, no cousins, uncles, brothers, sisters, grandparents, nobody.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I did a
Would be
what
tough.
they would call, this was going back into the 80s. So we didn't do crowdfunding. What I did is I got on the phone and I rang a lot of people and said, she needs thousands of dollars
Mm.
because she needs a whole year of no rent for a
Mm.
start.
Mm.
She needs that. And we raised it. We raised it within 24 hours. Yes.
You're an
Yeah.
angel. That's incredible. All right. Um, we're probably getting to the end of this interview today, and we can continue with this topic if you would like.
Yeah, we can, whatever you want to do.
All right, Judith. No, that sounds good. Well, I hope that today's interview has given the viewers some insight into the aura, because as we have just found out, the aura is not such a bad thing. It
Mm.
is, it is who we are. We need it. It's for
Mhm.
survival. It's for making decisions. It's
Mhm.
for moving forward.
That's right.
It's consciousness.
That's right. And the other thing too is that there is a word that's commonly used out there, and it's called being egotistical, right? And it shouldn't exist because that puts ego in a negative form. There are behaviors that do exist out there. And if someone has an imbalanced ego, then they are boasting, or they're ostentatious, or they're conceited. But there's no such thing as being egotistical, because that puts a negative slant on the ego.
It
Mm.
does, and it has got such a bad rap. I was even
I
listening
know.
to somebody yesterday just in a contemplative mood, thinking, I'm just battling whether it's my ego or whether it's coming from another place. And I said, oh, just be at one with your ego. It's all
That's
good.
right. That's
Yeah.
right.
But
All
all right,
right.
let's just do another question before we wrap it up.
Right.
Just for insight for the viewers, because I nearly forgot this one. So if someone wanted to notice, because we've already talked about it, but let's sort of summarize it to make it clear for the viewers, even clearer than what you've made it, because you've made it beautifully clear. But if someone wanted to notice ego influence in themselves without seeing their aura,
Mhm.
what signs might they look for in daily life, and what are some practices that you could recommend for clearing ego-based energy within the aura?
Mhm. All right. What they would look at their self-esteem and their self-value and their self-worth. So if they're powering through whatever they're doing in their life, then they've got a lot of self-worth. If they're not, if they're feeling lost, if they're feeling as though they can't organize their life, then their self-worth and self-value is lower. So they've got to develop that. There's lots of ways that you can do. Lots of ways that you can do that. I mean, the YouTube's full of it. The world is full of all these courses that you can do. Now, as far as being able to balance that in your aura, what you need to do is you need to bring color into your life. If you're stuck, then you've got to bring apricot into your life. No matter how you bring it in a scarf, put the color in your hair, wear a jumper, wear a jacket, put some cushions on the lounge, bring apricot into your life, because apricot is the color of self-caring. It's the color of self-communication, talking to yourself in a positive way. That's what apricot brings into your life. It gets rid of all that negative thinking. Mm.
Yeah, that's interesting because I don't know if anybody knows about that product called Nutrimetics, and
Yes.
it was all packaged in apricot colors,
Mm.
and it's about caring for yourself, your skin, nurturing yourself.
Right. Yeah.
So, and some of the products smelt like apricot. So when you say apricot, I just think of Nutrimetics. Okay, so bring that color into one's life, and that will help them.
Oh yes, yes, yes.
And
Most
probably,
of the most
yeah,
of the issues that people have that have got low self-worth or low self-esteem is the way that they talk to themselves.
that's it, the self-talk.
Yes.
And
So
what we,
bring apricot in. Get a
yeah.
nice string of get a necklace. Get some apricot socks. Get some apricot pajamas. Get a duvet cover in apricot. Just fill your life with apricot.
Yeah, or bring some flowers into the home, maybe some apricot colored roses and things like
Yes,
that as
and if
well.
you feel as though you don't have practicality, you don't have a sense of practicality, you don't have a sense of being able to organize things or be methodical, then you simply just put apricot energy, and you put dark brown with it, and you just put those two colors together, which blend beautifully, and that will give you your practicality and your self-talk, and you'll start to maneuver your way through it. My
Wonderful.
husband, my husband, when he was alive, was capable of doing anything and everything. The local people called him the master because he could do absolutely anything, and he had apricot and brown in his aura all the time, little pockets of it. That meant that, oh, I don't know how to shear a sheep. Oh well, I'll get a book and teach myself. Do it slowly and carefully so I don't hurt the animal. he did it because of those combinations of colors in his aura.
Yeah.
So if you're looking to do things for yourself,
Mm.
if you're young and you've bought a block of land and you can't afford to get a house built and you want to build it yourself, well, get apricot and brown in your aura,
And
and
it will
you can learn
happen.
how to build it.
Because the color, and we haven't mentioned this, but the colors have a vibration. Everything is energy.
Yes, yes,
And so it's the reason why the colors work is because they're emanating a
that's right.
vibration that
Yeah.
affects our aura.
Yes, yes, yes. And people go off and they get their aura done. They come and tell me and they say, I got my aura done. And somebody told me it was red. And I thought, oh my God. If your aura is, somebody tells your aura is one or two or three or four colors,
Mm.
um, you're sick.
Mm. And so now that brings us to the last bit I want to talk about, and that is
Mhm.
you. You have now, because you looked after your husband for, what was it, like 20 years?
22 years, yes, I
22
was his
years.
carer. Mm.
You were his carer,
Mm.
and now you have decided to come out and
Mm-hmm.
help people and
Mm.
interpret their auras for them to in order to help them.
It
And you
wasn't
do it.
my idea. It was Paul's idea. It was my husband's idea.
It was your husband's idea. What a
Yeah.
great idea.
And to tell viewers, when I was saying about apricot and chocolate brown, right? Putting
Yes,
those two colors
yes.
together, Paul set up my website. He called a friend, got all his computer stuff taken out of the house, got it all transported to the hospital with all his adapters and everything else, and his hard drives that God only knows. Um, he spent 7 weeks in hospital, and he set up the website. He set up all the different products, my meditation downloads and all that. He set the whole up, and he did it all sitting up in hospital, so sick, but he just kept going.
Incredible. And so your website is thehumanaura.com,
Yes,
and the other
yes,
one is earthkeepers.com. Is it
yes,
Yep,
yep,
.com.au, I think that one.
yeah.
But
.com.
anyway,
Earthkeepers is
Earth
the sustainable living.
Living.
Earthkeepers.com.au.
Yep. So we'll put that in the description box below. People can
Mm-hmm,
buy your books, some of
mm-hmm.
your books on through your website.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yep. And also if they do want to engage in an appointment with you, because I
Mm-hmm.
really love to promote you, Judith, you are just an extreme talent and so
That's all loaded up on the
people.
website now.
Correct. It's on the website. So
Yeah,
please, if you want a
people
reading,
can book in for a consultation, and
that's it.
it's it's a Zoom, so that we actually get to talk in real time,
That's it.
and
Anywhere in the world.
it's 30 to 45 minutes to get a real quality consultation. Mm.
Fantastic. So there you go, everyone. 30 to 45 minutes.
Yep.
Book online, look in the description box because I will put all the links there.
Mm.
And again, it's been absolutely my privilege to speak with you again, Judith. And I look forward to doing another interview with you. We'll continue the topic
Mm-hmm.
and we'll branch out as we normally do and go on the journey. So thank you again for your time. Much appreciated. And I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Stay tuned. Please also like and subscribe to the channel. That means a lot to me. And yeah, thanks again. We'll see you next time.
All
Bye for
right
now.
then. Thank you.
Thanks, Judith.
Thank you.